The SEC on ESPN, and we get you set for Thanksgiving with a Thanksgiving thriller. 15th ranked Kentucky welcomes the Ospreys of North Florida for this game before Big Turkey Day. Good afternoon to all my friends. Tom Hart alongside Pat Bradley. We are on the eve of Thanksgiving. Pat, what are you thankful for?
Well, I'm thankful to be here with you because you're paying for dinner tonight. I always appreciate that. I order extra, 2 entrees in fact. But I'm also thankful to be able to watch this Kentucky team evolve and get better over the next couple of months to be where we think they are, Final 14.
Coming off that loss to Gonzaga on Sunday afternoon, they've gotten great play from the freshman guard, Wallace.
Well, he is fantastic. He affects every part of the game. It starts with defense. He's 6'4", 195 pounds. This guy can defend any position on the floor, 3.5 steals per game. However, he's shooting 53% from the three-point line. Cal says they want him to be even more aggressive trying to score the ball.
And John Calipari's team with dreams of a national championship. Now here's the number, the nugget of the day. There hasn't been a national champion that lost 2 games in the month of November since Kansas in 1988 with Danny and the Miracles. It's been a while, but this Kentucky team certainly has the talent to do it, to bring home another national championship for Kentucky. And John Calipari, now in his 14th season as UK's head coach. He's a Hall of Fame inductee and 4th among active Division I coaches in career wins. And another Pittsburgh guy, Matthew Driscoll, on the other side. Matthew Driscoll's the all-time winningest coach in the history of the North Florida program. He came there from his time as an assistant at Baylor. They have had 3 20-win seasons. They played in the NCAA tournament when they won the A-Sun at home in 2015 against USC upstate, And now Driscoll coaching against another Pittsburgh guy. This is a program that was NAIA as recently as '93, Division II until '05. They didn't join the A-Sun until the '05-06 season. They love to shoot threes. They've had 783 consecutive games with a made triple. We are ready to go. Oscar Tshiebwe in the starting lineup, and a bit of a change for Kentucky as Antonio Reeves will be on the floor as the starting 5. He's taking C.J. Frederick's spot. John Calipari looking for more of a burst early on. They did not get it at the beginning of the Gonzaga game. They started 4 of 22 and 0 for 7 from deep. The offense really struggled, and here's a little leaner that's off the mark, and Jacob Toppin rips it down.
When you talk about the offense struggling, I think this transition, if you can get out in transition, defensive rebound, blocks, just like they did right there, these guys, well, they fill the lane fast and they can finish.
Toppin had a great second half against the Zags. 12 of his 18 points came after intermission. What do you think of this starting 5 with Reeves out there instead of Frederick? How does it change him?
Well, you have C.J. Frederick now coming off the bench and being able to see how the defense is playing. I think for a shooter it's so important to get a chance. That was a nice crafty move inside right there.
And it's Julius Hicklin, Jr. from Dallas out of DeSoto High School by way of Division II Oklahoma Baptist, who's making his 20th consecutive start today. And he'll go to the free throw line. Chance to turn in an old school 3-point play.
And to go back to what you're talking about with Frederick or Reeves, I think Cal is just trying to see what he can get most out of both of those guys. Both are shooters. He's had Reeves come off the bench. Maybe from a defensive standpoint, he felt Reeves fits in a little bit better at the beginning of games.
Wow. Toppin with an aggressive line off the feed from Wallace. Jose Placer is the point guard for North Florida. Played at UMBC the year after they beat Virginia in that 16-1 upset. Antonio Reeves for 3 and gets it. Senior from Chicago by way of Illinois State.
But that's part of running. It's not run and gun, it's run and execute. If there's nothing there in that initial push, Xavier said, let me get it back out to Reeves. They're still being aggressive, not setting up an actual offense, but it's about being having a smart, aggressive shot.
How about Julius Hicklin? 38 wins over 2.
Guys are in college basketball. They'll try to pull Big Oscar out of the paint.
Trying to challenge Oscar inside, and the jump hook off the mark from Jaden Parker.
So Jaden Parker right there, he gets Oscar at the top of the key. You think they watched a little bit of what Gonzaga had done with Timmy and trying to break down Oscar, and Coach Cal said, listen, retreat and make them go through your chest, which Tshiebwe did right there, and you saw the result in an air ball.
Yeah, Cal was not happy with the defensive effort. He said, we want to stay square to our guys. A lot of guys got sideways. Maybe back when you're playing high school, you could let them go by and
can't go
pin it against the backboard.
Can't go sideways.
No.
Sideways has never been an effective defensive stance. Here's that matchup. I call it a matchup zone that North Florida plays. Some may call it the amoeba, old school. But it's really a 2-3, but it's a matchup that Coach Driscoll was, when he was at Baylor, Coach Drew ran that.
Off the mark, the jumper from Placer, and rebound by Oscar. One of many, I'm sure, tonight.
That's it. That's his value.
And now Wallace for the three.
I mean, that's just poetry. Watching Severe get it off the glass, go, get in the lane, and then find his shooters. If you could draw it up, that's how Coach Cal wants it.
I'll go with this Kentucky coaching staff because Xavier Wheeler is so important to this team. Being a leader and the ability to execute the offense. Shot clock is late for North Florida. They're coming off of a tough loss Monday against Duquesne. This is a big run for them. They are playing a ton of games in a short period of time.
See, Placier should have shot that three in the corner. That was actually their best look. It would have been over with Reeves contesting, but you got to put it up.
Oscar with an offensive rebound. Nice share to Toppin. And Oscar with the assist.
So, Oscar, you don't have to drop a play for him, man. You just let him play, okay? He finds a way to make an imprint on the game because he is so good. His instinct to getting on the glass is so good. And he hangs around the rim.
Out there to challenge the three. Xavier with the rebound. So we got Oscar with an assist and Xavier with the rebound. It's like the upside down right now.
It is bizarro world. Bizarro Kentucky.
Reeves can't knock down the three. Cats have started 2 for 5 from deep.
And this is going to be fun to watch. Cason Wallace, at his size, 6'4", 195, defend a point guard. Baseline of base, 94 feet. He can do it, and that's a terror. Xavier does it as well.
Wallace had a school record steals first game, got into foul trouble against Gonzaga. And Cal said, I had him on the floor for too long. We got a surprise coming for you. We're going to throw it back to Kentucky National Championship days when we return, but a look at the guard play leading the three.
Exactly what you want from Xavier Wheeler. Penetrate and then kick it out to one of your shooters. Look at Oscar Tshiebwe with a beautiful pass to Jacob Toppin with the finish. Kentucky up by 5.
I've got him. I know.
Box goes.
All right, welcome back to Rupp Arena. John Calipari coaching up his guys early on. Kentucky hitting some shots, and I got a guy with us.
Look at this guy.
Cameron Mills.
You realize this is the closest I've ever been to you.
That's right. You were supposed to be guarding me.
Yeah, I tried to defend you for years. It's the closest I've ever gotten.
Me and Cameron did the same thing. Help, 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 help. We pointed. Switch.
Well, all right, so you led us there. What made Pat tough to guard?
He could shoot.
Yeah.
I mean, look, that's the whole point of this game. You step outside that three-point line, and all of a sudden, you shoot the way he can. I've got to guard him from everywhere. I can't let him drive. Of course, I'll let everyone drive. I can't let him get a shot off. I can let everyone get a shot off. Someone like him can kill you from the three-point line.
Let me ask you kind of a general question. As we watch this Kentucky team with a 10-5 lead early on, you were part of, with a rotating roster, several different rosters, right?
Yep.
How do you form chemistry on the court?
Doing things off the court. So, for example, from the 94 to 98 period of time that I played, we went bowling together. We saw Dumb and Dumber in the theater.
How
long ago it was, I know. We did all kinds of stuff off the court, and that's part of it. The other part is, I mean, having like tough times on the court. I mean, what they just went through in Spokane last week. This is good. That's good for them. I mean, hopefully, we'd like them to have played better, but it's good for them. You got to have that adversity to build this the bond that you need to go the distance.
What's your advice to players, because it's a different animal playing for Kentucky, and Cal has talked about it many times. Some guys aren't big. The expectation. What did you feel when you put that Kentucky uniform on?
Well, I felt a lot of it because my dad played here in the 60s. I'm a Kentucky boy. This was my dream. And then I come here and I play for a guy for the first 3 years in Rick Pitino who put so much pressure on you as a player. What actually wound up happening is...
Be honest, he yelled at you a lot.
Oh, my gosh.
Be honest. Come on now. You told me the stories.
Yeah, I can tell you the stories, but I have to censor everything. But he put so much pressure. I mean, I imagine he's the way Coach Richardson was, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay. I've always put them in the same boat in some degree. But he would put so much pressure on you as a coach, you wouldn't worry about the fact that you're playing in front of 12,000 hostile people or however many there was down in Fayetteville. I mean, all you had to worry about was making him happy, making your teammates happy, and that was the only pressure you felt, really.
Little floater goes for Jose Placer, their point guard.
And one of my keys for North Florida in this game, Cameron, was going to be don't hesitate. You have any look at it, you got to put it up. Because not only we know the three-point shot's great equalizer, and they shoot it well, over 8 per game, but Kentucky's coming at you. And if that first, you might not have that first one, you might not have another one because of their length.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, that's the thing, but isn't that the way both teams should be playing?
Absolutely.
I mean, I know watching Kentucky earlier in this season, that's been their problem, or the 2 losses they've had. That's been their problem, is they've hesitated when they've had open threes. And I can tell you, being to a couple of practices, that's what Cal's yelling the most about, is if you're open, and I don't care who you are, if you're open and you don't shoot it, you're coming to sit by me. North Florida, the same thing. They're not going to have too many opportunities. So if you're open, take the 3, especially as great as they shoot it.
Yeah, and C.J. Frederick enters the game now. Pat and I had this long conversation earlier today about when you come into the college game, if you're a guy who can shoot, it takes a while to really get on the scouting report. All right, and I hate to make it all about Pat, but he was talking about, your first year, you snuck a lot of shots. So people didn't expect much of you.
Absolutely.
And then you could
hide in a way. And
absolutely.
And then you became one of the top lines of the scouting report.
Yep. Because he was on our scouting report, I can tell you. I mean, he was on there. I mean, we knew how many times, what position around the key, around the 3-point line was Pat's favorite. Yeah. We had that broken down. That's the kind of scouting reports we had.
So do you think that has changed things for C.J. Frederick, who played with Garza at Iowa, the National Player of the Year, could maybe find some of his shots without a whole lot of eyeballs on him? Shot clock late here for the Ospreys.
Maybe that could have part of it. I think a lot of it, though, with C.J. right now is just in the big games. Just play ball. I mean, stop, don't react, don't worry, don't think. And I think that's part of it right now. He has sat out basically 2 years here wanting to prove to the state and this team that he is the shooter that we all thought he was. Don't press so much, man. Just go out there and play your game because he can definitely shoot. You just got to go out there and let him fly.
8 points in the 2 losses. Dorian James beat the shot clock on the other end for North Florida. Here's Frederick. Shot clock late. Able to get it away, and we got a foul. And a trip to the free throw line coming for Chris Livingston.
I know many Kentucky fans will remember '97, your breakout, I would say, in the NCAA tournament.
Fair enough.
It was you made every big shot.
I think I was in the NCAA tournament. I was shooting 65% from the 3-point line.
That's normal.
But
and to be fair to you, in '96, one of the greatest college basketball teams of all time, not a lot of shots going around.
Thank you for being fair, but the reality is, to be fair, I didn't deserve to smell the court that year, but whether we had that much talent or not, because, and I don't know if you had the same thing, Pat, but when I got here, I was a shooter,
right?
But not nearly the shooter I left here as, and more importantly, I had to learn, because I could not beat someone off the dribble. I had to learn how to use a screen. And once I learned how to use a screen, that's when I started getting open shots.
I'm curious, the biggest games of the year are those that happen in March. How were you able to kind of forget about the pressure of those moments and just play? Because I feel like a lot of players need to learn whether you're playing Michigan State or Gonzaga or it's the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, and I think we saw that with Kentucky up in Spokane again. Again, what I said earlier, the pressure I felt was from my teammates.
Here's Oscar with the steal and the slam. So the moment was never too big because you had a moment every day in practice.
Because I was worried about impressing or not getting yelled at by that head coach over there. So whether these 22,000 people yelled at me or not, didn't matter.
How about Oscar?
We saw him against Michigan State. That's how he's improved. He can run the lead guard now.
Cameron, we'll let you go home, fire up the computer, and watch the rest of this one. Thanks, man.
Great to see you. Appreciate you.
Cats up 19-9 at the 12:15 timeout. Kentucky shooting 50% from the floor, 50% from 3, and Oscar Tshiebwe with good defense gave him a high percentage look.
One thing, Oscar is very quick. He's fast. Those big, strong hands getting out in the passing lane. We saw him do that earlier in the year, get a steal at half court, be able to handle it and finish high above the rim. He took it easy on the rim there, though. I thought he was going to just punch it, yell, hang. Well, you can't hang on it, but just
put a little effort into it.
Well, he makes it look effortless. He looks like he's in a good mood today. Thanksgiving.
He's very good. Well, he met my
meal.
son Andrew today.
Put him at ease.
Yeah, he did put him at ease. Andrew said, I'm just curious, Oscar, do you think your rebounding is more based on strength or positioning? And Oscar looked at him and he said, you need to read the book of John. That will put you at peace, and then you can accomplish anything. So not only did they have to buy him a Kentucky hoodie, but got to pick up a pocket Bible for the flight home. Jose Placer with the little leaner.
You can download it on the iPad.
Oh, yeah, that's for sure. That'd be a good read.
Get the Bible app. That's what Sevier is so good at, stopping, turning that corner with left hand, getting in the lane. And even if it's not an immediate shot, we see what happens, right? The ball's moving side to side. The defense has to rotate.
Damian Collins with the three that was too strong.
Too strong, however, you saw the shot. Clean look, clean landing by the ball.
And this is an interesting five out there right now. Case and Wallace is going to run the point. They got Livingston and Collins with Onyenso in at the 5.
Here's that matchup zone.
You can hear Cal yelling, move it, move it. They played with a tempo at shoot-around today that was less concerned. Onyenso Wallace got it stripped away. Less concerned with executing the end and more with playing loose and free, I thought. Is that a fair description?
Absolutely. The Gonzaga game, they started that game slow cuts, slow passes, no aggressive north-south type of attacks at the basket, and nothing's good going to happen if you don't do that.
Look at Collins slicing his way in.
But the speed of getting it off the rim for Kentucky and then up the court and finish, that's what's going to give them those extra buckets throughout the course of the game if you're not shooting the ball well.
And Onyenso with another block. That's become his specialty.
Livingston flattened that out. Good attack. Now shoot that.
Frederick turns it into a 15-footer. You'd rather see a 22-footer right when he got it?
Well, if he was balanced, rise up. But right there, Perry did a good job. Of running him off the three-point line, which is something that Coach Driscoll preaches. We don't want to close out. We want to run at that three-point shooter.
North Florida leads the nation and lowest percentage of opponents' points coming from behind the three-point line. It's only 21%, and they know what would make them uncomfortable, so that's a big part of their defensive philosophy.
And a lot of it is players are now trained and taught to shoot the three, catch and shoot. If you don't, then attack the rim. There are players like C.J. Frederick who still work on the part of the game where I catch it to three. If you run me off the three, one dribble pull-up. Because for many shooters at his size or below, it's a very low percentage shot at the rim. So,
and to be specific, you can relate to that. That's the kind of player you were.
Oh, I would never try to lay it in. You kidding me? I'd get yelled at because the ball would end up in the 5th row, or it would go the other way for a fast break dunk.
Quick trigger on that one, and it results in a foul from Damian Collins.
But I think that's an important distinction. When we do play in a day and age where layups, dunks, and open threes or good threes is what everybody wants to take.
Yeah.
However, you still have a small set of players like Frederick and some others who understand their 15-foot pull-up is a 60% plus shot. Whereas a layup amongst the trees, that may be 25% or lower.
Yeah, it's all about efficiency. This is Carter Hendrickson, by the way. He's from Mount Sterling, Kentucky. Played right here at Lexington Christian Academy. He's top 10 in North Florida history in both points and rebounds. This is a guy that they need to have on the floor. Last year missed most of February due to an elbow injury. Parents in the building tonight. It's pretty cool. The guy goes all the way to Jacksonville to play college basketball and gets to play consecutive Thanksgiving games in his backyard here at Rupp.
Preseason all-conference in the ASUN. Hendrickson is.
Here's that 1-3-1 you were talking about earlier.
Sure, and it's really Casey Wallace catch and shoot in the corner. That's where you're going to find the openings, the deep corner, the short corner, and the free throw line. And we called it the matchup zone when I played for Coach Nolan Richardson, and it's really a zone, but you stay on the basketball. And when they vary North Florida, they don't guard the ball when it's at the free throw line, which is a little different than a regular matchup.
Placer drew a foul from Frederick. That's his first.
Smart players know where to get shots. Casey Wallace does a good job there of attacking, and you see the give and go. Doesn't always have to be give and go for a layup. You can give and go for a three-point shot. But the move there was CJ was in the corner, right? Stretching out the defense, which allows Kaysen to attack that gap. And then he realized the open spot was again in the corner. Boy, I love guys sharing the basketball for a three against the zone. Nothing puts a smile on my face like that.
Nothing?
Nothing we can talk about on air.
Yeah, nothing
puts a smile on my face like a three-point shot against a zone defense.
So it's kind of an interesting zone. We're talking with Coach Stephen Perkins today. He said really what it is man on the ball and zone behind it.
Right. And that's where you always have pressure on the ball. I think that's the important part of this defense. The ball handler always got pressure on it, and everybody else sort of rotates around it.
The North Florida team that's going to play a bevy of top 10 opponents this season. They've already played Gonzaga. They went on a trip to the Pacific Northwest over 8 days, played Gonzaga and Washington. One of the reasons they're just 1-3 on this season. Placer lost that one. Here's Frederick in transition. Now Livingston full head of steam. And he goes with the left to finish.
When they're flying up the court, right? Coach Cal talks about a fly. We got to fly. When they fly, it opens up the game for Livingston, for Collins, for all those athletes that they have in Toppin. Even Reeves or even C.J. Frederick. It's a lot easier to get a three-point shot in that transition than it is against a set defense.
He was talking to us about their offensive goals every possession, and basically he's like, we've got 3 looks we're going for. We want to fly as Hendrickson gets one to go, get into the dribble drive if nothing's there on the post, and then finish, which goes down to the details and executing.
Patience. You have to learn how to execute, because even a missed shot, if it's a good shot, gives you a chance for an offensive rebound.
Wallace off the mark with the 3 and a foul against Kentucky. On the inside, we've got a timeout on the floor. Kentucky has doubled up on the Ospreys here early on. Defense leading to offense for the Cats.
Great job underneath there. Good hands by Livingston. Starts the break, gives it up, but keeps sprinting up the floor. One dribble, uses his offhand for the layup. Great job by the young fellow Livingston as Kentucky is up 14.
Starters for the most part back on the floor for Kentucky. That includes Jacob Toppin, who had 18 points against Gonzaga, and that included 12 in the second half. He really found his flow. He was aggressive in the second half. When the offense got stagnant, he was able to take it himself. There's the assist from Xavier Wheeler. And what we're going to talk about, his mid-range jumper, he's got length, he's got confidence in it, and you look at his shot chart from the second half against Gonzaga, he wore out at 15 to 17 footer.
Yeah, you see right there where he's most comfortable shooting. A lot of players, that one dribble helps them get their balance, and for him it's going to that right hand. I think those shots, though, come within the flow of the offense. Cal cannot design a play for him unless it's a designed play to come off a high ball screen where he goes to his right hand and pulls up from that right side of the free throw line. I still think for Jacob Toppin, right now he's averaging 7 rebounds per game. He's a guy that can get you 10 rebounds a game, 5 offensive rebounds. He could get 3 buckets on the offensive rebound, make 2 or 3 free throws, 2 or 3 jump shots, and then get to the free throw line 4 or 5 times. I mean, just with that and getting in transition, and that's 15 to 20 right there, without having to rely on a jump shot.
Jaden Parker with the foul. That's his first. I hear what you're saying about the ability the physical ability and the motor to go get those rebounds, but you're also taking them away from the best rebounder in the country. Oscar doesn't allow many opportunities for the rest.
No,
they were number one in the country in rebounding margin last year, all because of Oscar.
Right. There's no doubt Oscar is the best we've seen in decades. However, on the offensive glass, imagine trying it from a defense to deal with Oscar Tshiebwe and Jacob Toppin attacking that offensive glass. Like, Oscar swallows up most of the defensive ones. I get that.
Yeah.
But the other thing, too, is, man, Oscar, there's a lot of games he's going to have 3 fouls and 4 fouls late into the game, and you're going to need that.
Oscar got switched onto Hicklin, the guard, and then nice effort by Wallace to knock it away. Cason Wallace is wise beyond his years on the defensive end.
He's got great instincts. He can at 6'4", 195. Obviously, we just saw him guarding Parker, who is a very long, big player, likes to post up. So, but yeah, you're right. He's got good instincts, understands how to hold them off right there at the right time, poke the ball away.
Nice quick move, but it's off the mark. That was Jaden Parker again. Product out of Charlotte, North Carolina. And a little floater goes for Antonio Reeves. That's what he did a lot at Illinois State, and we saw it in practice yesterday and today. He's proven to be a good jump shooter, but overall, he's just a great scorer.
He is. He's an aggressive scorer. He's got just about every shot in the book.
Oh. Bunny missed, to Oscar's delight, because he found an offensive rebound. And now C.J. Frederick, no.
Oscar keeping it alive. See if he doesn't get it, he's going to keep it alive. Smart play.
Wow.
Smart play by Jacob Toppin. Realize he's got that whole side of the floor. Don't rush it. One dribble, you thought he was going to pull up from 15. He says, but let me get on my hip, little fella. Get on my hip. Take my time. Great decision.
Oscar with the block. It'll be North Florida basketball.
There's that attack by Reeves. That's, to me, that's an offense. Defensive rebound, transition, because they're such a good rebounding team. There's the patience by Jacob Toppin. What I love about that is he knows the double team is going to come at some point. What does he do? He's patient at the right time. When it comes, he sees Oscar's open. Oscar dives for a dunk. Simple basketball. Great execution.
Oscar overplays that one and knocked it out of bounds. Tshiebwe was really hard on himself after the game, the loss against Gonzaga. He said, I just have to be better. And John Calipari said, you know, Oscar's on the floor to make plays, but numerous times forgot the plays that we were running. And talking with the coaching staff about that kind of misfiring piston, Oscar was out with a knee injury. And during that time, he's in the training room getting treatment. Instead of being on the floor, he is an on-the-court learner. Like, he's got to be a doer to learn. Some guys can learn in the film room. Some guys can learn on the grease board. Oscar's got to be out there and feel it.
Yeah, and there are some players who are just so talented that you allow them to play free. And Oscar's one of those guys. He does so many things just off instinct like that. That's not drawn up. Oscar, catch it, face up. So when you're working with Oscar, it's about working on his footwork, his hand, his strength, his agility, and then allow him to find and pick his spots. I wouldn't necessarily say, okay, Oscar, you go to A, then you go to B, then you go to C. Just play.
Yeah, that could be paralysis by analysis, right?
Exactly. And you would say the same thing from a lot of these. You know, Severe Wheeler is a guy that's so quick.
Whoa! How about that shot clock beater by Hicklin? That was a long two.
That's what I'm talking about. Hicklin, I'd love to see it. No hesitation. Great arc on that shot, too, getting over Cason Wallace's hands.
I think another aspect with Oscar, back to the jump hook, is it with that knee putting him out of commission for a while, he's still not in the physical shape, cardiovascular speaking, that he's going to be in.
Oh, there's no doubt. You want him to be in peak shape, obviously, in March. See the hands there by Cason Wallace. I think Xavier Wheeler's another guy. He's so quick and creates so much that you let him go sometimes, and you say, create something for us, get us a shot right there, just over them. He was actually had his left shoulder towards the rim.
Oscar has the last 6 for Kentucky. It's a comfortable first half for the Cats. Ospreys of North Florida have had a tough non-conference schedule. They've already played Gonzaga and Washington, now Kentucky, and then they still have a game with Houston coming up first week of December. Picked to finish 5th in the ASUN. They bring back 7 of their top 8 scores for a team that was under 500 last year. They started 0-6 in the Atlantic Sun, and then they won 7 out of the last 10, so that was a good finish. But Pat, they're coming off a game Monday against Duquesne. They lost by 1. 23 lead changes, 18 ties.
Well, their team, like I said, they make over 8 threes per game. They want to run and execute, not run and gun. We want to run and execute, get up the floor fast. If we don't have initial shot, we want to make sure the defense moves side to side, run some high ball screens. Typically 4 out, 1 in. And what I love about their defense is they will play man, but they play that matchup zone. I'm telling you, I love that matchup zone.
Oscar Berry's at the top of it there. His brother's the punter here for the Kentucky Wildcats. Wheeler off the mark, and Berry, Australian, who played at IMG Academy where his dad is employed, comes down with the rebound. Was on the Northeast Conference All-Rookie team last year at Fairleigh Dickinson.
Do you think he can punt a ball into the hoop?
Well, I think he could try. His brother Jordan is with the Vikings, had been with the Steelers punting in the NFL. Wilson is now the punter here, coming off of his best game of the year against Georgia. Averaged 46.7 yards punt. Took over the job late because of an injury. They've had a history of Aussie punters here at Kentucky.
You can see North Florida's offense right now. They're always going to have 4 out, and they'll change who that 1 in is.
Toppin pull up. Listen, I know that analytically that's not a highly efficient shot, and you can get high percentage 2s or 3s, but he sure is comfortable shooting it.
Well, you got a couple of things that are working for him there. He's in rhythm. He's shooting over a smaller defender. And quite frankly, man, if you're practicing that, that becomes a high percentage shot.
Yeah.
And I love it when he's catching it in rhythm like that. That was another good job of that Kentucky transition. You know what Cal was talking about? That's a great move inside by Abar. Cal talks about, let's fly if we don't have it. A little dribble drive right there for a pull-up.
And now Toppin for 3. And that one's off the mark.
And while we're talking about Toppin, you don't mind that shot right there. He's shooting under 20% from the 3. However, he's trying to improve that, and that is a spot-up catch 3. And for most players, that's going to be at least a high percentage shot.
There's Oscar Berry with the make, and now quickly on the other end, Antonio Reeves with the splash, his second 3 of the game.
He's feeling it today. You can just tell his aggressiveness right from the tip.
Got a post touch. Onyenso went up to challenge it. And Jonathan Abar with another bucket. This sophomore from Kissimmee, Florida's got a couple. Here's Reeves again. No hesitation, huh? It's a Bradley type shot.
He is failing it.
15 in the first half for Antonio Reeves.
Going to have to adjust that defense, pick him up right at half court.
Hicklin. And Onyenso commits his second.
Can I tell you another thing I love about that?
Please.
Reeves, you can tell, even before he hit that previous 3, he is feeling it, right? That was a previous one before that was that step back 3. I love the fact that his teammates recognize, okay, Antonio's feeling it. We got to look for him especially in transition. If he's got any kind of daylight, get it to him and let him do something. Just let him touch it. I think that's the important thing, and that's part of learning how to play with each other. Like, if a dude is hot, he doesn't have to shoot it every time, but you got to let him touch it, man. You never know. His defender could fall down. around. He can make a move. You just got to let him touch it.
Give him a taste.
Give him a taste. He may make something magical happen. I just don't like when a guy is rolling and they don't even look his way or try to get him involved. Not that he has to shoot it. It's just man, ride the horse right now.
There, Reeves on the left wing.
Ooh, turn.
Toppin with the drive, and Hendrickson fouled him.
Yeah, that's a tough matchup for anybody, even though Hendrickson's first team preseason conference player. But Jacob Toppin catching at that free throw line. Oh, man, 6'7". We know he can shoot it from 15, 17. Face him up and go. Ooh.
Toppin 56% from the line coming in, and he knocks them both down.
Cal also talked about the free throw shooting. And Kentucky typically has been a high free throw shooting team because a lot of what they do is to the rim, not a lot of three-point shots.
You mean a high rep? They get to the line a lot.
Get to the line a lot, depend on that. And that's just a style of play. But Cal talked about how he wants more of it, and that means playing through contact. Wanting to get fouled.
Here's Toppin, open floor. I do Thiero. And Oscar finds the rebound.
Isn't it amazing how he's able to just, it's like he's the only person out there tipping it to himself.
Yeah, it's like his hands are magnets for the ball. And he kicks it out. And he has 8 boards, and Wheeler with the 3 at the payoff.
How about the assist?
It's filling up the stat sheet tonight.
Assist.
Oh, and the block. 3.7 seconds left. What does North Florida drop here?
Well, North Florida is one of the best baseline out of bounds teams. They had 5 buckets straight of a baseline out of bounds against Duquesne. They feel like this is one of the most important parts. It's almost like a special team situation.
Knocked away by Oscar at the buzzer. Reeves got another. Antonio Reeves with an 18-point first half. 3 threes, and that one came before the backboard lit up. It's a season high for points and a half for Kentucky.
One thing I would say is don't go after Oscar Tshiebwe on the out-of-bounds play. Probably not a good idea. And Reeves, did I say he's feeling it? Yes, he is. Steps right into that 3. Great job. I think we give it Oscar another assist on that. How about that?
He wants it. We'll go inside access with Oscar. We'll give you notes from around the SEC and recap the first half coming up next. Take a look at the first half highlights and plenty of Kentucky highlights. The season high 54 points in the first half. Oscar with the steal and slam.
And you see his great instinct and versatility. But this, to me, the transition all day by Kentucky. 6'9" Damian Collins. You get him out at the wing, he is going to finish all day, all night. But this guy right here, Antonio Reeves, has been dialed in the entire day. 18 points, 7 of 9 from the field, 4 of 5 from the three-point line. He has basically been get it to him, get in rhythm, give him some space, he's going to deliver.
Here's a look at the numbers. North Florida has knocked down a 3. That's 784 consecutive games. UNLV holds the continuous record. They've made a 3 in every game since the three-pointer was brought to the college game in the 86-87 season. Kentucky plus 14 on the glass, 13 points off turnovers.
That was a big part of what Kentucky was missing against Gonzaga. Hate to bring up old stuff.
Wow, but you just did.
I know, I did, and I apologize.
Well, there are some Chicken Littles out there who think the sky is falling. How do you, not to be disrespectful, but how do you look back on those 2 games, both Michigan State and Gonzaga, looking at them as a whole?
I see them as pretty different because Kentucky was in position to win that Michigan. Actually, even against Gonzaga, it was a 4-point game halfway through the second half against Gonzaga. But the Michigan State game, there was 3 defensive breakdowns at the wrong time. And that's what allowed Michigan State to win. So I think that was about communication and positioning, which is a teaching point, which you don't want to rear its ugly head when you get into the tournament. That could happen. However, against Gonzaga, what Kentucky is known for, like, great hustle, Carter.
Picks up a second.
What they're known for to me is they can generate points in transition because they can block shots. They've got length, which means turnovers, steals, and of course defensive rebound run. Offensive rebound stickbacks. They weren't doing those things against Gonzaga. Getting to the free throw line, that's easy money. I'm not going to say it's free money, right? For some people it's painful when they shoot from the free throw line.
15 of 41. And here's Toppin, left it short. Cason Wallace now with the drive.
He just gets better every single play. Not every day, every play. Finish with the right hand going to the left side. You see the athleticism there and creativity around the rim, which is an extremely underrated part of any player, but guard, is the creativity around the rim to finish.
Sidewinder didn't draw the iron. That's Hicklin, who was aggressive offensively in the first half. Toppin mid-range.
It's a spot, right?
I mean,
you called it.
It is what it is. You know, a couple of years ago, Kevin Durant got into a Twitter beef. This was before Elon Musk bought Twitter, so everybody's more positive about it. With some of the analytics guys who were going back and forth about the value of the mid-range jumper. And the analytics guys had this long, and I use that term respectfully, they've done a lot of research to show you that the most effective shots, and that's Hendrickson with one, are threes and at the rim twos.
Sure.
And Kevin Durant entered the chat, so to speak, and he came back and he said, I disagree. I have more confidence in my pull-up jumper inside the arc than anything else I do. And they went back and forth, and finally one of the analytics guys said, yeah, but you're Kevin Durant. You're a unicorn. For most basketball players, and Nate Oates will preach this, right? The most efficient offense you can be is three-point shots and at the rim twos.
Well, yes. However, what Nate Oates preaches, and a lot of other coaches now, it's how you get those shots. It's if you don't get 2 paint touches, which sucks the defense in, now you're kicking out to a three-point shooter, where that three-point shot by yourself open may be a 40% shot. However, with the hand in the face, that could be a 20% shot.
Yeah.
So to me, what I appreciate from Jacob Toppin is that he understands where his highest percentage shot is. And for Kevin Durant, if Kevin Durant's pulling up from a 15-foot jump shot, he is so long by the time he releases it. It might be 5 feet.
Hold on, chance to win chicken. And we're winning chicken, everybody. Back-to-back misses for Jaden Parker.
What's the rules on that?
Consecutive missed free throws.
Wow.
Taking home some Chick-fil-A.
Talking about.
Here's Oscar again. He's got another double-double. Toppin in the paint. The 31 career double-doubles for Oscar Tshiebwe. Tied for 4th all-time in Kentucky history. Kenny Walker and Tom Parker. Tom Parker finished in 72. Scott Walker in 86. 3 is off the mark. Of course, the great Dan Issel, #1 all-time with 64 double-doubles. Toppin left his feet and turned it over. And that one off the glass.
Yeah,
the big bank was open.
That was a force there, but I do like the fact North Florida coming back with their own transition. Again, when you play a team that's good defensively, got great length, get in transition. That's where you're going to find some openings, defense on their heels. Maybe they don't pick up as well as they should in transition.
Oscar wide open. And over the top of Placera. And now the 3. I feel like we're seeing more kickouts from Oscar Tshiebwe in this game than we've seen in a while. Toppin with the spin, and they'll count it. 3rd on Mount Sterling's Carter Hendrickson.
So there you have a 3-point shot. You have Oscar Tshiebwe. About 4 North Florida Ospreys are on Oscar right here in that offensive rebound. That's that great spin move, which Jacob Toppin does a really good job of knowing where his defender is, feeling him out, gets close. Yeah, we got close to him, and once he felt that contact, that's when he spun. But if so much attention is on Oscar, and you attack the offensive glass like Toppin just did, chances are you're going to get it.
Three-point play for Toppin. And Damian Collins replaces him.
It's another play right there that can dominate the offensive glass.
Cool. There you go.
I love it. Didn't know what else to do. That offensive play went a little sideways. I get a little daylight, so I'll put it up.
Oscar Tshiebwe's got 14.
Great position by Oscar, getting down deep. All he had to do was turn, a little scoop hook shot.
And a steal by Livingston. Freshman gets tied up and taken down.
There's a little awkward finish to that play right there. I think looked like Livingston didn't have full control of it. Great job getting in that passing lane, though. Quick first step. You see his length as well. He's another guy fighting for minutes. Where's he going to get his minutes? How about those kind of plays?
And that's what John Calipari's looking for. Chaz Lanier with the foul.
I just always feel like if you're a player and you go into a season, a game, thinking to myself, how can I have an impact on this team without having coach draw plays for me?
Okay. They're going to look at this and see if there's a flagrant one involved. You know what? While they take a look, we're going to eat some popcorn. Enjoy this break.
Fair enough.
The officials took a look at that one, said common foul, and so play will resume. Here's another look at it.
I think it was just an awkward stop by Livingston, kind of bobbling the ball. And Lanier, his momentum, as he had thought he was going to continue to go to the hoop for that. So, yeah, I think that's the correct call.
You know, there's nothing common about John Calipari's staff. And every time you walk in the gym, there's a guy with a huge smile on his face, ready to talk ball. It's Bruiser Flint.
He is such a fun guy to talk to. I appreciate it because I go back his UMass days with Coach Calipari, where Coach Flint was an assistant and also the head coach there at UMass. But what's interesting is I saw Bruiser Flint talk to him earlier today. First thing that came up to me was we talked about the great AAU coach Leo Papil.
Tell me about Leo Papil. This sounds like a guy you could write a novel about.
He is the founder, coach, director of BABC.
Okay.
And some former Kentucky players that played for BABC, Nerlens Noel, Wayne Turner, all Boston guys. So it was a great connection that Leo Papil has. And Bruiser Flint played for the great Sonny Hill in Philadelphia, which is some of these, AAU. It's different now.
Yeah.
Back then, there was each big city had one big AAU figurehead. It was like Leo, Sonny, and every city had one of those. But the great Leo Papil.
It kind of sounds like you're talking about the mafia in some ways.
Yeah, they're all connected.
The basketball mafia.
Each one of them had, a bag, a suitcase, a leather-bound suitcase that they carried.
What was in that leather bag for most of these guys?
The answers to anything you needed to get out of a issue with, right? If we had a problem, like, Coach, well, here's the bag. No, but it was those trips were fun.
Bruiser took over at UMass, took the Minutemen to a couple of NCAA tournaments after Cal had moved on in the mid-'90s, and then West Philadelphia product ended up at Drexel. Another one coming for Chris Livingston.
He's a head coach in waiting, will be somewhere soon.
And Livingston knocks down a couple of free throws.
Isn't it great talk? You talking to him before the game too, getting a chance to talk with somebody who is his whole entire basketball career has been throughout the entire country, knows everybody, can sit there and talk about everything and anything.
Well, they live it, right? Every
man.
Single day, 365, and been doing it his entire life.
And he's obviously been in a position to be around some great basketball teams and players and coaches.
Livingston got the foul on the drive, and that will be charged to Max Herdlicka, freshman out of Brunswick, Georgia. I just like listening to you two talk, right? I mean, the Boston accent on one side, and then Bruiser with that kind of Philly attitude and connection.
Oh yeah, listen, he's tough now. He's rough around the edges. He'll bite your head off, but he'll do it with a smile. You know what I'm saying? He does it with a smile. How about Coach Chin Coleman with the white glasses on the bench? I don't know if we get a shot of that.
Yeah,
he's looking smooth. It's almost like he's sitting like at the Oscars, courtside at the Oscars.
Yeah, could be. The movie star looks. Tshiebwe with the takeaway.
Got to be more decisive. I know, North Florida, getting away from him, but I still think offensively, stay on the attack, right? Because
you would say 40 is getting away from you?
Getting away, I would say, if it's, talk to me under 10, the under 10, because that's typically when I say is the breaking point in every game.
Okay.
Tom?
The first 10 or the last 10?
Typically, it's the last 10.
So they've already played number 2 Gonzaga. That was on the road. Now I get Kentucky, preseason top 5. And then December 6th, they'll be at Houston, another top 10 team. And Matthew Driscoll plays these schedules. He's like, this is what we do.
Well, the Atlantic Sun is tough, too. I mean, his conference, they got 14 teams. You got to win that tournament to get in. So the preparation for his teams, playing Gonzaga, Kentucky, you mentioned Houston, but you still have to, there's still a lot of things you can work on this. That particular play right there, come off that high double screen, stay on the attack.
14 for Julius Hicklin.
Part of it too is I'm sure Coach Driscoll's like, oh man, we got to play him coming off that Gonzaga loss. that's a fired up Kentucky team.
Toppin knocks down the 3. That is his first and just his 3rd make from deep this season.
You got an angry Kentucky team coming off that. Almost like Gonzaga coming off that whooping at Texas, and then Kentucky's got to play him.
Gonzaga scored the first 8 points. They got the first 8 rebounds. It was the biggest first half allowed by the Cats since 2020 against Notre Dame. And in both instances, they came back and had opportunities. It's just the hole was too deep, and it was too deep for a lot of reasons. Bad shots early, no rebounding early, and it seemed like, just as a viewer, it seemed like there was a lack of a sense of urgency, even as big as the game was.
Well, it was, and Gonzaga had the answer. Drew Timme coming downhill, and he's extremely talented, obviously, but Drew Timme coming downhill at you. Very few, if any, big men that could stay in front of him. And they continued to go back to that throughout the end of the second half and when Kentucky was making their run.
Cats with a 40-point lead. Back in a few. Hey, welcome back to Rupp Arena. Here's some of the sights and sounds you get, including the national championship cheer team. 74-34, Kentucky with the lead.
Going into this game, Tom, I jotted down a few thes.
Oh, you actually prepared for once.
Well, I had our producer write it down for me. And I was hoping he'd make a graphic for me. As you see Jacob Toppin here as having a big night, and it's come in the flow of the game. Nothing forced, understanding where he can get his shots off, where he can pick his spots. He's a tough cover, man, with his size and athleticism. I think for him to be extremely decisive but understand his strengths and play to his strengths, not his weaknesses. But I did want, going into this, wanted to see how Kentucky defended the 3.
Yep.
because North Florida has the ability to go off, make 12, 13, 14, 15 of them.
Yeah.
Done a great job. Only 4 of 10.
And I think the key there is that they've only shot 10.
Right.
For a team that's a volume shooting team, yeah, they're shooting 40%, but you've only allowed 10 attempts.
Well, that's why they're on 34 points right now, is because if you allow them to shoot as many, to your point, they're going to make them. And so Cal was like, listen, we're not even going to allow them to get any off. Right on cue, miss assignment there, and leave them wide open. They're going to make it. They're going to make a bunch of them. The other thing that I was looking for was transition points. Kentucky at 19 fast break points right now. I love the attack aggressiveness right there.
Onyenso made contact. That's the third Kentucky's big freshman.
Because North Florida, this is early in the season. You're still playing for a lot. Casey Wallace there on the help. That's over help. That's a young guy just wanting to make sure that his big fella's taken care of. So a little over help gets up to 3, and that's just a good attack move.
So Dorian James at the free throw line. He gives him 5 of 5. He had 8 points against Duquesne a couple of nights ago. So, 5 games over 8 days.
Checking in for Kentucky are Damian Collins and Antonio Reeves.
Reeves and Collins return for the Cats.
Coming out Toppin and Livingston.
James was a 30-game starter last year. His siblings both played college hoops. Darius and Charla, the men's and women's teams respectively at Lynn University.
This is important too for Kentucky. Right, you're going to get some man-to-man. One of the things Cal talked about was we need to run our offense. Give it time. Don't. Right there, get on the offensive glass. Talk about Damian Collins, Jacob Toppin, those guys, Onyenso. Those guys can get you extra buckets. But Cal wanted to make sure, guys, let's not take a quick shot. Let's run our offense. We've got good plays. Everybody talks about, oh, what's Kentucky doing off? They've got plays. If you run them, they're going to work. Just got to be patient with them.
How many plays did you guys run at Arkansas?
We had 4 plays. Cutting game, screening game, cat and mouse, and down screen. We call it double stack. Double stack, where I
kind of sound like children's board games.
But it was all about instinct. We basically played the 5-0. This is the 90s 5-0. And it's a very simple offense. Right there, you see the instinct. This kid's got great hands, big, strong hands, great length.
Reeves with the drive.
I ever wish he had big, strong hands. So much easier.
You think how many Rupp Arena ice cream cones I could hold?
In between each finger? What's that? 10?
Yeah, like Ben McDonald holding a baseball. You could hold 7 baseballs in one hand.
Multiple. Just look at the hands here, though. You put it anywhere in front of him. If you're not protecting the ball against Casey Wallace, he might just walk up to you and just rip it right out of your hands. Now there it was a little loose on Oscar Berry, but just goes to show you how it's got an instinct for it.
North Florida wants a timeout. It's a 40-point game.
Wow.
Welcome back to Rupp Arena. It's a 79-39 lead for Kentucky. How about Antonio Reeves tonight?
Well, Antonio is a electric scorer. He has got just about every shot you can imagine right there. The step back, another step back right there. It takes a lot of balance. He does it with the right hand and the left hand. Good catch and shoot. No hesitation. Love that his teammates have recognized that he is feeling it tonight, and he is 4 of 7 from the three-point line and 7 for 11 overall from the field.
Yeah, pretty good outing for Reeves, who got the start today.
And you wonder, he's a big transfer coming in where he played a lot of basketball and a lot of minutes for his team, Illinois State. You wonder how difficult it is to get accustomed to coming off the bench or trying to play a different role as it is. But I'll tell you what, the good news for Antonio Reeves, the good news for Kentucky and C.J. Frederick, you got Antonio rolling. CJ is going to be right behind him, finding his rhythm.
The foul is on Wallace.
Look at
His first and the team's
Case and Wallace for the foul. Meanwhile, on the North Florida side, Jarius Hickman has led the way, 17 points. He's knocked down 4 of 6 from 3.
And Hickman does a great job of coming off that high ball screen, pull up, catch and shoot. Not a lot of hesitation on what he does.
By the way, we have not seen Lance Ware on the floor tonight for Kentucky. We're told he's a little bit under the weather. And so more opportunity to Onyenso. And the freshman, who should be a senior in high school, has asserted himself well despite the foul trouble tonight. And his defense helps force a shot clock violation.
Parker did a good job of staying with that missed shot. Didn't get it off, but we've seen him make an impact in the lane. Not afraid to go up against the Kentucky's bigs.
Here's Reeves off the screen. We're talking about Kentucky's offense, and you know the criticism occurs every time Kentucky looks stale or loses a game. They gave the Michigan State game away. They really weren't in that Gonzaga game, even though they made a run late. And people like to talk about it being an elementary offense, which I think is accurate. I also think that it's a very intuitive offense. There's so many options off of what they present, even though they might only be a couple of different plays, so to speak. Wouldn't that intuition take a lot of time playing together?
It does. There has to be a lot of trust, because you have to trust the other 4 teammates that they're going to run the play, and you can trust them that it's going to go the right place and they're not going to shoot it before or take a bad shot or a quick shot. Here's the thing, though. I don't think offenses should be complicated, Tom Hart. Terrific Tom, okay? A simple down screen has enough options off of that. You can curl, you can come straight out, you can fade, you can slip the screen if you're a big man. That's 4 options right there. How many else do you need? It's about reading the play, reading the defense. How about a ball screen? The guard could come off, pull up. He could turn the corner, get to the rim. The big fella slip. Again, the big fella can set the pick and dive to the rim. The big fella can pick and pop. So how many more options do you need? What I'm saying is, it's about reading what the defense is giving you. And so it doesn't have to be complicated. But I think the issue sometimes with Kentucky is they've got to trust one another. And if you take a quick shot, that's usually a bad shot. That means you don't trust that if I move the ball, we're going to get a better shot, or I'm going to get it back.
Yeah.
So I think it's hard cuts for Kentucky, quick passes, decisive passes. But they've got enough offensive plays. And that's what Cal talked about. He's like, today to us, it's like, we run enough stuff. It's just we got to execute it. We got to trust it. Because quick shots do not put you in position to get offensive rebounds. So even if you miss a good shot, you guys can get to the rim. And if they don't get to the rim, your defense is still in position to get back and transition.
Chuck Jones wanted to make sure that Cal was in the coach's box. He was a step over. Faded 3, doesn't go.
Details, Tom.
Nice little jump hook for Jaden Parker. By the way, the Kentucky women's team leading Dayton by 12 at the half. Kind of weird that they're both playing at the same time. It was odd how this game ended up coming about. This was a game that was rescheduled. Remember the telethon over the summer that raised so much money for the folks in the Commonwealth. And John Calipari got Mark Few on FaceTime and said, hey, how about we play a game? And they threw together a game, but the date was what this North Florida game was originally supposed to land at. So that's why it's the second year right around the Thanksgiving holiday. Onyenso, part of a multi-team event, and this one honoring the late great Mike Pratt, who was a long time not just Kentucky Hall of Famer and a fantastic basketball player, but a wonderful human being. Launched his battle with cancer over the summer and worked with Tom Leach forever on Kentucky radio. Onyenso to the free throw line. He'll have another one.
And I'll just say one thing about North Florida. Yeah, they look overwhelmed today against a Kentucky team that we talked about has the mental advantage, right? I mean, Cal is trying to figure things out, which it's going to always take time. But I think a game like today, you see a lot of good things from Kentucky moving forward. But North Florida, Carter Hendrickson is 6'7", can shoot it, put it on the floor, can rebound, defense a lot of positions. Jarris Hicklin could shoot it, 4-6 from a 3. They've got size. Parker has done a great job, I thought, in the paint. He's handling it outside right now. So in that Atlantic, so they better be worried. Place is a guy hadn't had much opportunity, but he can run the point. He can score for you. So it's going to be a big year, I think, for North Florida.
Xavier Wheeler with the foul. That's his second.
The foul is on. And the team is 6th.
16 foul on Kentucky.
For Kentucky, Jacob Toppin replaces Damian Collins.
Did you watch any of the Kings-Grizzlies game last night? I know you were back in the room eating pickles.
I was eating pickles and almonds.
Yeah, well, John Morant had a chance late, but he missed his free throw. He needed 3. He was fouled shooting a 3. He needed 3 to force overtime. Before that, with about 4 seconds left, Malik Monk was at the free throw line. John walked right up to him and said, "Don't miss." Malik Monk didn't. Knocked them both down.
He didn't listen to him?
He didn't.
I was looking back at some of the highlights of Kentucky. 47 points, Malik Monk versus North Carolina.
Oh,
that was one of the great performances. The backcourt with De'Aaron Fox. What a backcourt that was. Malik Monk is, he had a great shooting game that game, but his level of athleticism was off the charts as well.
Well, I thought that played a role in his jump shot. He gets so much elevation on it, right?
He could shoot over anybody. Just so explosive. His brother, all-SEC wide receiver, Marcus Monk for Arkansas.
Fight for the rebound, and Toppin went spilling. That'll be a foul on the Ospreys, and first time. Ja, who's into the game. A really nice moment at North Florida's shoot-around today. Ja Inslee with the foul, and this happens, maybe once a year when I'm working games. Coach says, "Hey guys, go introduce yourself to the visitors at our shoot-around," and they come over, and it's like being in a receiving line.
Right. It is. It is good because they're all of them are very polite. There you go. That's Kentucky. All 4 guys go there to pick up Jacob Toppin.
18 foul on North Florida, and Toppin, who's got a career high now with 18, going to the free throw line.
Coach Cal is going to be extremely happy about the performance on both ends from a lot of guys going into the Thanksgiving holiday.
Yeah, they'll be off until they play for the state championship against Bellarmine.
There you go, Bellarmine. Look out where they run. Now you talk about an offense that is not complicated, but it's about motion.
Yeah,
that's what I'm talking about. That is okay. Are you overplaying me? I'm backdoor cutting. Are you allowing a pass that I'm going to come to the ball? It may set a ball screen. It may be a dribble handoff. There's just so much you can do if you're aware of what the defense is giving you.
5-second violation.
Player movement, ball movement.
By the way, Bellarmine had that win against Louisville early this season. Cardinals still haven't won a game. They're 0-5. Worst start since opening the 1940 season, 0-11.
Well, their first 3 games lost by 1 point each game. Then they faced an Arkansas team that is Final Four good.
Yep.
And then Texas Tech,
which is a defensive wizard.
Yeah, and right now Louisville they just don't have the horses. Did you get that?
I got it. That was a dynamite drop in.
Thank you.
Should spend some time here in the Commonwealth.
Oh, I know the Commonwealth. Oh, believe me, I know the Commonwealth.
Cats lead North Florida 83-41. A little bit of Big Blue Blood over there on the North Florida huddle. That's Oscar Berry. He's a banger. His brother's a banger. That's Wilson Berry in between, or sitting next to his dad, I should say. And Jordan, a punter with the Vikings. Wilson, the punter here for the Cats, had 3 great punts against Georgia. Mom's on the other side. But nice of them to come to town, see one son play. And Wilson showed up a little bit late. Mark Stoops had him on the practice field today.
He's 6'4", Wilson is.
Yeah.
Now, I talked to Oscar at shoot-around. He said he played him some Aussie rules football, Australian rules football. And he said he could punt it too.
His dad was the first Barry to do it. He played Aussie rules as well. The Australian guys, it's really interesting how that pro kick works. They don't pick a school as much as they get placed at a school, right? And these are guys that played Aussie football and want a chance to come over, experience American football, play a little college ball, be on campus. Most of them didn't have a chance to do that. Next up, he punted here.
So how about a did you know segment right here?
Yeah, drop it on. Like it's hot.
So me and my research, I could only go as far back as last year. How many?
Your computers in Arkansas don't go back further?
Yeah, the internet speed is not what they claim it is, so a little slow. How many Australian punters were on NCAA Division I teams last year?
Let's see, out of 130 teams, probably 70.
Wow. 50. Close. Yeah. You overshot the runway.
I did.
Tom, terrific. I thought I was dropping some knowledge on you that you weren't aware of. Although Arkansas's got an Australian punter. Cincinnati's got an Australian punter.
Florida's got an Australian punter. Which you knew.
Which I knew that.
But what's interesting, how about this recruiting aspect?
Miami, how about that?
They get placed at their schools, many of them sight unseen, and say, hey, guess what? Bowling Green's got an Australian punter.
Guess what? You're going to Bowling Green. No, I want to go to Miami. Kentucky.
Oh, wow. Toppin almost jumped to Miami. Man. Toppin with his second career double-double. First came against Howard in the season opener.
Xavier running that break again. I didn't think you could throw it too high or too wide for Jacob Toppin. I thought in the building was good enough for him. Actually, I thought throw it to the shot clock. He's going to bring it down. Oh, nice play right there.
And Xavier with the hold. That's his third personal. And that Calipari hollering at Antonio.
Great pass, Hicklin.
So Jerry's Hicklin with the feed. Then put Max Herdlicka at the free throw line. Didn't play in the Duquesne game. They lost that game with 1 second on the clock. A kind of a busted play for Duquesne after Jerry's Hicklin had given them the lead. Reeves tracks it down. And Livingston draws a foul.
Important minutes for Livingston. You've got to get those game minutes for him to feel a lot more comfortable. Not even just playing with the bright lights, but just within the flow of the offense of what Coach Cal wants. And Cal also to see where he can play him. What situations is he best at?
You know, last week Cal was really challenging his guys at the 4 spot, Collins and Toppin, to go get rebounds. And the promise was, if you don't want a rebound, then I got Chris Livingston who could go to the 4 spot and rebound. Nobody got back, or at least not in time. And Jonathan Abar with the bucket.
North Florida's a good size. Abar, Parker. I never understood. It's like, understand where you can get minutes. We talk about it all the time. Like back in the day, we say Dennis Rodman got paid $80 million just to rebound. How about DeAndre Jordan? What did he get paid to rebound?
A lot.
A lot. Nothing wrong with it. And Oscar understands that, Tshiebwe.
Thiero for three.
Thiero is another player. Upside through the roof.
Yep.
Still developing, can play multiple positions too. He's played point guard in practice, so just gives you an idea of the versatility of this kid.
I think there's a real benefit. Here's a corner three now from Hicklin. To Kentucky players who show up not thinking or not being led to believe that they're one and done players.
Glad you brought that up.
Thiero commits the foul because I do believe that brings pressure, and if you don't get off to a great start, that pressure only builds. If you're a guy like Thiero, you're just playing with house money. Like, you have time to grow into the player you're going to become, and there's very little pressure on yourself, your family, everything that you could possibly deliver for them to do it immediately.
There's no doubt. And Coach Cal has talked specifically about that. You're talking about if you're a freshman at Kentucky, people they just assume you're one and done.
Yeah.
If you're a transfer into Kentucky, they're assuming, well, you were here 1 year and going to the NBA, but everybody's journey is different, and the way you put together a team isn't always like that. And we know even 5 stars are different. There are a lot of 5-star guys that aren't one and done, right? Each one isn't the same.
Trent Coleman knocks down the free throw.
So, yeah. Cal has talked about when you play for Kentucky, you have to be built for it. And there's that expectation. And you also have to understand how to stay within yourself and not let that pressure get to you like, hey, let me develop.
I think one of the things that he does really well that goes unseen, you see the fire and you see that he is a demanding coach, and there's no question. And that bucket will count if that's not Onyenso. That's his 4th. But he does a really good job when guys are struggling, and he's aware of that, of supporting them. And it may be as simple as they might have somebody who's missed 5 shots in a row, and then he's going to compliment them on setting the perfect screen,
right,
or being in the right spot defensively. So when that guy goes back to the lodge after practice, instead of being down, man, I can't believe I didn't shoot the ball. And Hall of Famer patted me on the back today. That's pretty good.
Well, a smart coach understands that pat on the back. It's only what, 6 inches from a kick in the rear, and you got to know which one to give them to keep motivated. Gold bar.
Kentucky 10 points from the century mark up on North Florida, 90-46. Perfect bounce back game for the Cats after losing to Gonzaga by 16 Sunday evening. It was a long trip and a late arrival back in Lexington at 4 o'clock Monday morning. We'll talk about being a newcomer and a youngster in the Kentucky program and the expectations and the weight that carries. It's not just, I think to your point, Pat, it's not just freshmen, right? You come in as a transfer from the Missouri Valley like Antonio Reeves. 18 points in the first half for Reeves was the most for Cat since P.J. Washington did it against Vandy in January of 19.
And for a lot of these the transfers, it is, well, now you got to step in and do what Kellen Grady did. And you're always compared to that player that you're going to be replacing. And so there's a high expectation, although if you're built for it, you welcome it, you want it, and you don't let those outside noises affect your daily preparation.
Onyenso with the rebound.
And for North Florida, too, don't forget, they have been on the road. They played Monday night at Duquesne, hopped on a bus, drove to Lexington. So they've had quite a road trip themselves.
The foul is on Lakers. That's his first and the team's 10.
10-team foul on North Florida. And Antonio Reeves going to the free throw line.
They will get a chance to fly back to Jacksonville, though.
That's
the good news.
Get home in time for the turkey. How are you going to prepare your turkey?
Osprey. So they should be flying.
They should. Are you have a deep fry it?
Yeah, we went through that phase.
You felt like that was a trend?
I felt it was a trend. It was a phase until hot oil is firing over on top of everyone's feet and knees, and it's just becomes
torching the garage.
Yeah, it's just.
Please be safe. Reeves sitting on 20 points now. Those are his first of the second half.
What's your job this year for Thanksgiving? Are you the stuffing preparer? You look like
What do you got?
a green bean casserole
No.
kind of guy.
Green bean casserole. Onyenso. How about cornbread, maybe?
Just thinking Atlanta,
cornbread.
what it is that you go to in Atlanta.
Listen, cornbread, not just a great podcast, but also a fantastic dish. We had the bourbon sweet potatoes last night at Tony's. I asked for the recipe. David refused to share it with me. Collins was up there for a while. Can you imagine a restaurant with a sensational dish that's a little bit non-traditional? They won't just give you the recipe?
Well, no, that's just insane. I'd like to see your take on it, though. Because I know your
melted marshmallow in the middle of it.
Your taste buds are off the charts. No! Oh, my goodness.
I do.
That's the young legs.
Yeah.
Young aggressiveness.
He might be rethinking that one now.
Well, when he's, in the NBA 10 years from now, he's probably going to be laying that in. But those young, explosive legs and his excited man wants to make a highlight reel.
I think he thought that Dorian James was going to stand his ground and he'd have somebody to land on. James just kind of olayed him and moved out of the way.
Exactly. Or maybe put that left hand on his shoulder and get a little extra boost.
Here's a promise for all you young kids who may be underdeveloped. Thiero's 6'6", 200 pounds at the beginning of the season. He was 5'9" as a high school freshman. And you're like, yeah, well, there's a lot of growth. He was only 6 feet tall at the end of his junior year. He was only 6'5" his senior year when he was the state player of the year. And he is still growing. They say the growth plates are still wide open.
And I think we do forget, 17 years old, 18 years old. A lot of people who grow up until 21, 22. And he
I
could
stopped
be
growing
wrong.
when I was 14. That
14.
explains my maturity level.
Listen, you hit your peak at a young age. I mean, but you're the all-star of every baseball, basketball, and football team out there. Drove the bus, I'm sure, right?
I did.
Taught everyone how to shave.
Bought everybody beer. Count that one, and it's a bucket for Trent Coleman, who's got 3 points tonight. Collins commits the goaltending, and we got walk-on time now. Kareem Watkins on the floor. Brennan Canada, who's a 1,000-point scorer in high school. Walker Horn, whose dad, Darren, head coach in Northern Kentucky, and they just finished up an 0 for trip to Fort Myers. That can't be fun. 0 for 3.
Although you were in Florida, but still, yeah. Weather's nice, but results weren't.
You lose 3 games, you're not seeing the sun. You're in the film room. I had a big win against Cincinnati a week ago. Here's Onyenso. I got him for 7. Pretty good outing for Onyenso. Darren Horn was a head coach at South Carolina when Cal was here for his first year. Gave him his first loss.
The balance on Thiero, that's his second.
And they'll go to the free throw line. This is Trent Coleman.
Coleman at the line for 2.
Shout out Devin Downey. He was the one that had that
Devin
big
Downey.
game against Kentucky.
Yeah.
So famous, he made a podcast.
Great player. Also played football. Correct?
Sure. So speaking of South Carolina, our old friend Frank Martin is now up in your neck of the woods.
He's at UMass, which connects with UMass obviously with Coach Cal, Coach Bruiser Flint,
and a former Cal assistant Derek Kellogg after a couple of head coaching jobs in Amherst. Thiero with the lob, and Onyenso got stuck in front of the rim. The lobs have not been there, which is kind of like pointing out the mole on Cindy Crawford's face. Everything else has been really good for Kentucky today.
And I think it kind of all works in to create a beautiful masterpiece.
Horn with the cross-court pass. Oh, Thiero erased it. And he gets another. Ospreys pay it off with a 3 from Mark Flakus. I don't know how you feel, Pat, but we're under a minute now, and Walker Horn, Kareem Watkins, even Canada, like, go get yours.
Go get it. No one's going to hate on you.
And here it is, Canada. Off the back rim. Grant Derbyshire, another walk-on, won't see the floor tonight. He's been battling an injury. Horn with the steal. Just go down and shoot it. Ed Darren is a great scorer at Tates Creek High School here in town. Shoot it. And Horn commits the foul. Need to remind young Walker Horn that sometimes broadcasters have flights to catch, and that with the Thanksgiving holiday right around the corner, let it play out.
Well, he wanted to set up the out of bounds, the inbounds play potentially for North Florida. They work on their press break, a potential North Florida press right here.
Cats scored 54 points in the first half. They'll finish shy of 100, but they also shot 38% from three. A lot of positives for Kentucky on both ends of the floor today.
It really was when I look at how they defended the three, like we talked about, but also the points off turnover transition. It's two Pittsburgh guys talking about Permantes possibly getting a sandwich.
Let's put fries on the sandwich, fellas.
That is one heck of a sandwich. I had my Permantes in Fort Lauderdale, though, so is that still count?
Doesn't really count.
No,
You get
sorry, Pittsburgh.
Get them at the Pirates ballpark if you want. You can get them a lot of different locations. Maybe the first time Permante brothers have been brought up during an SEC basketball game.
Well, Coach Orlando Antigua played at Pittsburgh, so you got the connection there.
And Yins win this one by 40. That's her final score. Cats will get a bit of a break and then return against Bellarmine next week. And that'll be a fun game against a really good, as you pointed out, their offense, a really good Bellarmine team, right?
It really is. They're going to spread you out. They're going to take advantage of you over helping, over denying the wings, and backdoor cut you.
So here's what's up. Here's what's next for Kentucky as we look at their schedule. And they got Bellarmine next, and then a trip to London to take on Michigan. So be careful.
Oh, yeah, those things will kill you, man.
These chairs are terrible. Jacob Toppin joins us courtside. We'll get you out of here quickly, I promise. Hey, congratulations, a career high. We're talking a lot about your mid-range jumper. Why is that such a great shot for you?
Coach always says I should be the best mid-range jump shooter in the country, so I work on it a lot. Obviously, I need to work more on my three-point shot. I got to get more confident shooting it, but my mid-range, I'm very good, confident in shooting it, so I'm going to shoot it whenever I get the chance.
Big win tonight coming out of this after Gonzaga performance. I know you felt like you do better. What do you take out of this game to move forward?
We kind of use games like these to better ourselves for better games. So we had to get better executing, get better at talking on defense, get better at relaying calls on offense. So we just use this game to prepare for better games that we play.
What's your take on the offensive efficiency in this game relative to what you guys went through at Gonzaga? Like when you watch the film, and we're going to watch some of your highlights, how do you think it was?
I think we did good. We shared the ball. At Gonzaga, we got a little stagnant. We didn't share the ball a lot. And this game, we got out, ran with some pace. We shared the ball, threw it into Oscar. If he got doubled, he threw it out, and we just made shots. That's what we got to do in bigger games, though.
All right, let's watch the monitor. Let's watch some of your highlights, and I want you to talk about your game. I don't even know what's coming up first. You're watching it with us.
I mean, yeah, Coach always talks about finding little lanes to cut and get easy baskets, but also doing those cuts. See right there, I hesitated. Just gotta shoot it, but I gotta find those easy cuts because it creates easy shots, but it also creates easy rebounds. So I gotta find ways to just cut within the offense to get easy plays.
Before we let you go, favorite Thanksgiving side? Do you have one? Are you a Thanksgiving guy? You gonna sit down and have a big turkey meal?
Stuffing's top one.
Stuffing. You can't argue with that.
Can't argue with stuffing.
My
mother-in-law does it with liver in there, ground up liver. Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Yeah, no.
A lot of iron.
I don't know about that one, boss.
Passing on that. Congratulations, Jacob Toppin, career high.
Thank you.
Great game for Kentucky. They put up 96 in the win. See you next week for Bellarmine. And that's going to do it for us tonight. Time to power down those computers. Pat, this is a game that Kentucky needed, and they got everything that they needed out of it.
Well, there's a lot of good. Jacob Toppin, great offensive game, as well as Antonio Reeves. You got that shooter dialed in and locked in right now.
Liver in the stuffing?
Oh, it adds a level
I'm not coming to your
of
house.
richness.
Thanks for being with us. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.